Well, as most of you are aware, we had two young men make some really poor decisions here recently, and when you make poor decisions, you have to suffer the consequences. I'm extremely disappointed in Julian and Chad both, as we expect our student athletes to comply with the policies of the university and our football program. At this time, we're still gathering information. They will be disciplined in an appropriate manner. Any other decisions will be made at the appropriate time. There's a lot of information gathering that's still going on, so I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions that I won't be able to answer at this point or can't comment on at this point at some of the issues. But I am disappointed in those two guys. Really saddens me because both these two kids, I was able to go in their home in December, meet their parents, and both their parents are extremely disappointed in them, as well as our team. And this conduct will not be tolerated, and these guys will be punished in the appropriate time and the appropriate manner. Outside of that, I can't really comment a lot, but I do want to talk about practice today. But I'm sure somebody will ask me a question that I can't answer.
Let's get it out of the way. Do you know that there will be a suspension involved just based on the?
Again, I can't comment on that because I don't know everything yet, Chip. So it's hard to say. We're not making any rash run off and make a quick decision. We've got to see this whole thing through, find everything out, talk to them, get with them, and visit with them. So we can't say that yet. Where it was clear cut on Ledbetter's deal, it's not as clear cut now.
Do you know when they might return to practice?
Yeah, they may be back out there Thursday. Today they had some academic things. Obviously, they missed this morning, so we wanted them to go take care of their academic responsibilities, and they missed some classes earlier today. I think they made it to their noon classes, but they didn't make it to the morning classes, and we wanted both of them to catch up academically and get that area right.
They played in the UGA game?
I don't know that yet. Can't answer it.
How frustrated are you for this to come up?
Oh, it's just sad. It's sad because both those kids were improving on the football field, and to make a decision so dumb, I mean, just a dumb decision, and disappointing, and really saddens me because it embarrasses all of us. It embarrasses university and embarrasses them and their families.
Coach, noticed Shakiri Wilson was out there with the running backs today.
Yeah.
Why did y'all move him to running back, and is that a permanent move?
Well, we didn't think we could get through G-Day without enough backs, and Shakiri did a pretty good job Saturday. We had him back there Saturday sparingly. We went ahead and said, hey, we got 2 practices. Let's make it a full-time move. He actually did some good things today. I caught one run that he split us on, and he looks more natural when the ball's in his hand. It's a lot easier to get it to him there, just handing it to him. So he did a good job of that.
Do you think he'll get there in the summer workouts and stuff?
It's hard to say. It's going to depend on how G-Day goes. If we're able to find another back out there somewhere, kind of what our depth chart looks like, how Nick progresses. But it's an option that we want to have. I think he's over 200 pounds. I want to say he's around 210 or so, which is good size for a back.
Why him? Why Shakiri? Some of the guys on the team who had played running back or played offense in high school. Why just?
Well, that's going back to the weight's probably the key reason why. Because he's got the thickness and the bulk to do it. We don't have many receivers that got that bulk. Chigbu's probably got it, but he's not a true running back. Shakiri's done it before, and he was comfortable doing it, and he's kind of fired up about it. He's got a great attitude towards doing it.
Is there a number in scholarship as a tailback that you want to be at?
Well, it's hard to say. I definitely want to be at more than we got now. I mean, we usually try to work around the number 6, but fullback equates into that. So do you put the fullbacks at tight end, or some guys both? But we try to work around the number 6, and we're short that.
Do you rethink Nicole Hardman at all?
I don't know. Right now, we haven't really talked much about Nicole. He's fired up, and he comes, and when he's here, he talks about DB. But I think he's such a special guy with the ball in his hand that it's going to be tough because Nicole's got to go through a learning process to be a really successful DB. In long term, that's where I think his career goals are. But immediate impact, he may be a guy to get the ball in his hands, but the tough thing is we got a few guys kind of like that. We got the Isaiah McKenzie and the Terry Godwins, and Miko's kind of a specialty back. But I do think that Coach Chaney does a great job of using players like that. My history against him at Tennessee, they had a guy, I can't remember his name, but they used to stick him back there all the time, small guy. And he wore us out one game doing things with him. So he finds ways to get good players to football.
If Rochester can't go on Saturday, I guess that leaves you, 6 defensive linemen?
Yeah, I don't even want to go there right now because I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But yeah, we are depleted. But DeQuan Hawkins was out there today moving around. There's hope still that he may be able to actually play. He's recovered pretty quick. Now Bennett would be out.
How much was Hawkins able to do when you were out there? Like he was mostly just kind of watching.
He was. I'll be honest, I can't answer that honestly because I didn't get to watch him much. I know that he was going to work some in Indy, which you're saying that he didn't do much, so I was expecting him to do more. But I did see him one time during a specialty period over there, and he said it still hurts to push off on, and he is improving though. He really wants to play in the G-Day game. It's important to him.
Have you come up with a plan on how to distribute snaps for quarterbacks?
You know what? We haven't. We talked about it and got a little sidetracked today, but we had a meeting yesterday about it. And, we're trying to decide. We're probably going to have one quarterback play for both teams and take reps on both sides. We want the reps to come out even, and it's really not about for who wins or loses. It's how these guys play for their respective units. And it's really important to us that we get a fair look. If there's 100 snaps, we want it to come out relatively even.
Coach, one quick follow on the arrest from this morning. Were you made aware of the incident when the original search occurred on April 7th, or was this morning the first time you found out?
Again, I can't comment until I get a lot more information on it. You can't go there.
On quarterbacks, is there any separation among the three, and how much will Saturday figure into your?
I really don't think there's been a lot of separation, and it's frustrating because I think we would rather have a guy take the leadership role and take the bull by the horns. But it seems like every time a guy takes a step forward, he makes a poor decision and comes back. There's been a couple times where I thought Grayson was going to stick his head and shoulders above the pack, and then maybe he makes a poor decision. Then Bryce makes a play. Then Jacob makes a throw. It has really been a seesaw battle. And what was the second part? Will it play out in the game?
Saturday figure in.
Well, it'll figure in. I mean, it'll figure in a lot because we're going to have that atmosphere. Now, I won't say we're going to have our complete offense in, so it may simplify it some and make it easier, which sometimes guys play better when it's easier, when it's a little, dummy down, and we don't do as much stuff. But I really hope somebody steps out. I mean, I hope they all three play great, but that means somebody else probably on defense didn't play good.
What do you think the expectations should be for Jacob on Saturday?
The expectations should be to control the huddle, make the call, go out and execute, make the right reads, make good decisions, throw the ball where he should throw it, hit your check downs, that kind of thing. Just very simple, do the process of being a quarterback. It's not 70% of your passes, it's not 3 touchdowns, it's not any statistical number. Now, my history of being 9 years in a game in this environment is that the 2 defense is harder to block with the 2 O-line than the 1 defense is with the 1 O-line. So with that, we got to do a good job as coaches managing that side of the ball and making sure they get an opportunity because it can get tough, it can get challenging. Just that's the history. Is for 9 years I was the 1 defensive coordinator and had my hands full, where the 2 defense dominated the 2 offense usually. So I mean, and for the most part, our 2 defense has been ahead of the 2 offense. So it could be challenging for that 2 quarterback. We got to help them.
Is there anybody standing out in number 2 O-line right now?
Well, they've been rolling. I wouldn't say anybody's standing out. Sam's got good physical presence. He's good in the run game. Kendall's been with the 2 O-line, which he started, with the 1 O-line. He has improved. He's got to work on that. He's been off sides quite a bit. A couple of the guys up there have really fought. Alden Bynum competes every day to get better. Does a nice job there. And we've been rolling guys in and out at center. So it's been a struggle with that group. Nobody's really stood out, I would say.
Coach, we've asked you about a lot of the freshmen and enrollees, but a guy we haven't talked much about is Ben Cleveland. I mean,
Yeah.
How's he coming along? How do you like his position?
He played better in the first scrimmage than the second scrimmage, which is never good. It's a little disappointing. I don't know if he hit a wall. He didn't play as physical. Coach Pittman wasn't real pleased with how he played in the second scrimmage. Was more pleased with the first scrimmage. But Ben's, again, this guy should be in high school right now. He's got to play with a little more physical toughness and get some movement. And but he competes. I heard the kid out there today. He made a mistake and he told everybody it was his bad, and he's growing up.
Coach, obviously this is an institutional initiative to get 93,000 in here. What if you come up short of that? And
Right.
I guess there's no tickets or vouchers, so do you have any idea how it's going? Obviously you're promoting and talking on the radio and doing whatever you can.
Say that one more time. If there's
First, what would your thought be if you come up short of that? I mean, I'm sure. And then
Right.
second, what are you doing to
Well, if I come up short, it's not going to be a huge disappointment for me. Obviously, I think it'll help in recruiting if we have it full. But ultimately, I think when you set goals and you try to do things like that, sometimes when you don't achieve them, it's okay. It's still the fact you got closer. You know, I want to win every football game I coach, but I hadn't done that either. So I realized that that makes it tough. But as far as the second question, I still think I understand what you're saying, Chip.
What are you doing to help it happen? I mean, I know you spent a lot of time on the radio today, kind
Right.
of promoting it. Are you doing?
Well, I've just been issuing a challenge for our kids because, you know, I've been part of this fan base from afar for a long time, and we've never really had this kind of turnout. We never had this opportunity to have this kind of turnout, but we do now. And I'm challenging it because there's a fresh start, there's a new start. We got a lot of great momentum in recruiting. I can't tell you how many kids are calling me and energized from far away. And they're wanting to come to this. So I think it's a great thing, and I think it's something that we should challenge our fans to do every year. Because why not? I mean, we've got millions of people within our arm's reach. So why shouldn't Georgia have 93,000 there every spring game? It should. There's no excuse.
To follow up on that, can you talk about your memories of GA as a player? And did it feel like another practice, another scrimmage?
We talked about that this morning, actually. You know, this won't be the first time that G-Day would be a sold-out stadium because we played G-Day at Clark Central once when I played, and it was a packed stadium to the tune of about 9,000 or 10,000, I think. I don't know how many were actually there, but they might have had to turn people away, actually. But I'll be honest with you, I don't remember a whole lot about G-Day other than hoping that it ended quickly because it was the end of spring, and it was kind of, your body was torn to pieces, and you'd been beating on each other pretty hard, so you wanted it to end smoothly and get on with summer workouts. But I think maybe I got hit in the head too much because I don't remember all the pieces of G-Day. I do remember the Clark Central one because that was kind of different.
Kirby, is there one thing from the G-Day game you want to see Saturday?
Yeah. I want to see competitors out there. I want to see guys compete, and I'm going to challenge them. And to be honest with you, I want to see some disciplined guys play hard but play between the whistle. You know, it really disappoints me that not only these two kids with the issue, but Saturday we had some undisciplined penalties, some personal fouls, and it makes me irate for that to happen because when you do that in practice and you do that in scrimmages, it resurfaces when you least expect it. On 4th and 10 against Tennessee, and a guy takes a swing at somebody, and it costs you games. So I want to see guys compete really hard between the whistle and do it the right way. And then when the play's over, go pat the guy on the butt and say, good job, instead of jawing. So if I see that, I'll be pleased. But if I see a lot of sloppy play and a lot of penalties, it won't be a good day for me.
Kirby, are you guys making a concerted effort to target preferred walk-on offensive linemen, or is that something that's standard operating going forward?
I think it's always important to target the best players in the state to come to your program. In my experience, a lot of kids, I've always thought that Georgia should have the best walk-on program in the country. Why not? We've got the hope. We've got great high school football. Every kid in the state dreams of coming to Georgia. So why shouldn't you have the best walk-on program in the country? Because a lot of those kids develop to be special teams players, to be starters. We had one in Alabama, Rashad Johnson, became an All-American. He's still playing in the NFL. So if you develop players and you go out and you spend time with these kids and you sell to them, you get a great education, a chance to come to this university, and you have a role as a player, they can give back to this university the rest of their life. So we've made a concerted effort to target those guys. If you work hard at it, you can have a great walk-on program. But what you put into it's what you get out of it.
Specifically offensive line?
I would say, yeah. I mean, to me, it's just the best players. If they happen to be O-linemen, that's great. It's harder to get O-linemen because they're bigger, and most big people get recruited by smaller schools. So we've had to go after those guys and try to get them to make our team better. The key to your team is your 60th, 70th, 80th, 90th player, and we're trying to improve that.
Kind of to piggyback on that just a little bit. Demetrius Robinson's still in the process of making up his mind during this whole thing. How often do y'all keep in touch with him as far as
a lot,
conversations?
A lot. Every chance we get, every time we can, we're recruiting as hard as we can. I think the toughest thing is that we're also recruiting 2017 kids. So, you know, when you're still recruiting 2016 kids, and it seems to be that's more of a growing trend, that you're having to do double duty.
Last question. What do you tell a guy like that? He's already been here, he's been here for his visit. I mean, he knows pretty much everything about the
You keep selling your piece. I mean, you sell your product. We got a great education. He's talked about going into engineering. We got a great engineering program. We've talked to him a ton about stretching the field vertically because he's a really fast guy. We need a guy to do that. He knows that, so he knows the opportunities there. That's it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.
You gonna be here this weekend?
I don't know. You don't even know that. I don't know if I'm allowed to comment on that, but I don't know if it is or not. I hope so.
Thanks, man.